It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tyrone Lowe. This is my show, The Legends. And in the House of the Legends, we're going to New Orleans. And I want to introduce you to DJ Randall Smooth. Hey, Randall, what's going on, dude?
How's it going, Tyrone? How you feel
Hey,
today, my
quite
man?
well, man. It's an honor to have you on my show, man, because I'm loving what you're doing as production,
Thank you.
and it's really panning out. So, what we're going to start with is how did you actually get into music? How did you get into the craft of actually DJing? So we're going to separate that from DJing into your
Okay.
production. So let's start about you as being a DJ.
Long story. I'm originally from Chicago,
Okay.
number one, and I moved down to New Orleans about 11 years ago.
Okay.
But when I was in the Navy a long time ago, I was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, and I heard some guys, some of my sailor friends, they were bringing tapes from New York, from
Right.
Jersey, of like all the mixes and everything some of the DJs was doing, and I kind of fell in love with it, man. So when I got out of the Navy back in the '80s, I came back home and started just getting into music. Started
Right.
getting into DJing. Started going to listen to other DJs that was on the radio station because during that time, I think maybe like 1980, they just started mixing
Hmm.
on the radio. So when I came home from the Navy, I heard a lot of radio stations which was doing that. So that started me, man. That put the bug inside of me, and
Okay.
yeah, that's what did it.
Okay. So your first turntables, were they Techniques or?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
you know,
They were.
I hear all different stories. I started off with Thorins, then
Okay.
I actually went into Techniques. And so, who would influence you as a DJ back in those days, to actually give you that energy to really develop your craft?
Man, at first it was like Frankie Crocker,
Okay.
because I heard a lot of a lot of his shows when I was in Virginia.
Right.
And then when I moved back home, I started hearing like the Hot Mix Five, of course.
Okay.
So it was Farley, Jack Master Funk,
Okay.
Kenny Jam, and Jason.
Right.
Those guys really kind of made me want to really get into this and get into it really seriously because I like what they were doing
Right.
musically and how they were making the music sounded different and the blends and everything.
Hmm.
So Farley was actually my first, I think, inspiration.
Okay. And so, I know that you play house music, but back
Yeah.
in those days, were you just playing contemporary dance, or were you playing hip hop as well?
Oh man, it definitely was hip hop, but also was like blues as well, jazz and blues.
Okay. All
And
right.
of course, back in those days, when you were DJing, you were open format, right? So I
Right.
played like
Right.
blues, man. I played jazz,
Okay.
R&B stuff. And when I had a chance to, like a lot of R&B, of course,
Right.
um,
Right.
was later on labeled as house music. So
Right. Right.
yeah,
Right.
I started doing that first. Then eventually just kind of moved forward as to just playing just R&B and house music only.
So, uh, did you at that point were you looking for residence as a DJ, or were you? I mean, did you do a club, or were you looking for a club at that? Or let's talk
Yeah,
about your first club.
yeah.
You know.
Actually, I did a club in the Inglewood area,
Okay.
and it was right under the L on Inglewood in the hood. And
Okay.
I played, like I said, I played a lot of blues, a lot of
Right.
jazz, a lot of stepping music as well, and played some house at that particular venue.
Right.
But it was mostly like like a little neighborhood joint, and we did a lot of jazz and blues stuff.
Okay. Um, were you a Zanzibar fan or Paradise Garage fan? Or
No, you know what? Actually, I never got a chance to get to any of those clubs because at the
really?
time,
Hmm.
Frankie Knuckles had recently started doing some things here in Chicago. So
Okay.
that was like I think my safe haven, and my real introduction to
Hmm.
house music, and how and the feeling that you had received when when you heard it on
Right,
a
right.
massive sound system,
Yeah.
so yeah, I never got a chance to experience those clubs at all.
Okay.
um but I did get a chance to actually hear Frankie during the inception of
Right, right.
house music here in Chicago.
They say that that was actually the birth of house music. Do you agree with that? Or
It was the birth of, I think, disco, because me and my New York friends have this conversation all the time.
okay.
House music was labeled in Chicago.
Hmm.
Disco started in New York.
Okay.
Frankie brought like disco to Chicago, and then it was named house music.
Right,
So we had this back and forth thing, and I say all the time, like, it started in New York, but it was called disco at the time. But
right,
then they brought it to Chicago. We named it house music, and then we kind of did some other things as far as like inventing that four on the floor sound as well, and trying to, I think, expose that to the masses.
right. Music has come a long way since then because
Yes,
it has transformed into a more electronic type of thing. Because back in the days, man, I mean, it has transformed to the point where it has put a lot of musicians out of business because it was actually their job at one time,
right.
And now that we have this thing going on with electronics and computers and doors and stuff like that, man, it's a whole different transformation now. So, what would you say, about now? How would you actually talk about now as far as music's concerned?
It's really weird because it's still electronic, but also now I think a lot of producers are moving to like real instruments.
Okay.
And by me being here in New Orleans, it's like a blessing in disguise, because of
Hmm.
course there's some of the best musicians
Right.
that you can have down there, especially by it being the city of jazz.
Right.
So I've actually implemented some live musical instruments, some live musicians in some of my productions. Um, and I think, like, right now, if you notice, a lot of DJs they're doing both, but they're definitely doing that for most of their like soulful now and more
Right.
vocal, I think, type of house music. Um, but yeah, and I love, man. Like I said, I started DJing back in the day when I was doing like blues and
Right.
jazz,
Hmm.
and I think house music has incorporated like all of those. You got blues, you got jazz. You actually got a little what do I call it? A little down home rock and roll in it as
I hear
well.
you.
Um, because I think that it embodies all of that. You know what I mean? But I'm definitely leaning toward doing both. I do both. I have electronic drums when I go to the studio. Also, I bring in some live musicians, or I'll
Right.
send. And right now, what has happened, like, it's made it easier, where I can send music out to a live musician. They can record it and then send it back to me,
Right
and I can
back. Right.
place it in my DAW, and move forward from there. But that live music sound is not going nowhere. It's never going anywhere.
No, I doubt it myself very much. It's going up to a hype now where it's actually integrating into everything right
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
As far we're taking 60 music like rock and roll and we're
Yes.
sampling some of that stuff and we're making it into production that's like phenomenal.
That's true.
You know, um, and so are you basically a musician by trade, or was something that just happened overnight for you to start doing production?
It was weird, man. I started in the '80s. I played in the church band. Well, before that, my mom had bought me a bass guitar.
Okay.
We've also had a piano in the house, and I used to dabble with the piano.
Hmm.
When my mom bought me the bass guitar, it really kind of got me into like really playing.
Right.
And it's weird. Like, I'm one of those musicians that I hear everything by ear, learn by sight, and hear everything by ear, and that's how actually play. Like, DAWs have also made it easier where you can actually
Hmm.
read the note or know what notes your songs are in,
Right.
by adding them to the DAW, because everything is electronically placed. Um, but yes, then I got into keyboards in the early '90s, um, And then I just stopped, man. Like I had two boys. When my two sons was born, I think they were like maybe 5 or 6. I decided to, just kind of put it to the side for a minute, man, because I stopped for like 15 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, until my sons got college scholarships, and then when they got to college and their last year in college, I got back into it, but I had to put it on hold for a minute.
Yeah, we all got to do things like that. But we're going to take a slight pause right now.
Okay.
And we're going to listen to some of your production, man, because you are definitely hot right now.
Thank you,
and
man. I really appreciate it. I really.
You guys stay tuned. We'll be right back with DJ Randall Smooth.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Don't turn around. You ain't really down. Playing the games you do. Someday, everything will be alright. Hills and different people make the world go round.
And it's all because of you, my dreams are coming true.
That erases my rainy day.
Right now, I don't care who's watching.
For whatever the reason there might be.
With your love by my side, the world will be mine. You're the one for me.
Yeah.
We got some fun people in the house tonight.
This is our house.
Hey, my name is Tyrone Lowe. This is my show, The Legends, and we are right now facing New Orleans with the phenomenal DJ Randall Smooth. Hey, Randall.
Hey, Tyrone. Welcome back.
You know, I love that track, man.
Oh, thank you, man.
Matter of fact, I banged it last night, and it's going to be my next mixtape, you know,
okay.
And I'm loving it. So let's talk about that track. How did you actually encounter that? And tell the viewers the name of the track while you're at it.
Yeah, the name of the track is Not Forgotten. And the artist is actually Mr. Ed Ramsey, who's been around. He's been around house music for at least the past 20 years or so.
Right.
And what happened was me and Ed had put a track out 2 tracks before that. And he liked what I was doing musically, and I also had written the previous songs that he had sung on. So he actually did the lyrics for this one, and I produced the music and everything. And he sent it to me. It was like, yo, I got this idea. I have another. It was the first gospel house song we did was Grace.
Okay.
And then he said he had another gospel house song he wanted me to take a look at. So he sent it to me, and immediately I did that thing and put it down. Man, I did it in like 2 days.
Right.
Because the voice that he has is like so amazing. And I think the work that he does with his choruses is amazing as well.
Yeah.
And, when he brought it to me, man, I just felt it. And I think he knew that I was going to feel it, and that's why he sent it to me. Because we had kind of formed a bond, and he kind of recognized the style that I have musically. But he wasn't expecting it to sound the way it sounded, like
well, it sounds really nice. I mean, really, it has that spiritual, like the angels up in heaven type of thing going on.
That's
you know
his
what
voice,
I'm saying?
Man. That's Ed Ramsey's voice. He's amazing doing harmonies and things like that. I'm in such of an awe of his talent. It's crazy, man. And
I want to talk about my girl Crystal Lavelle.
Oh man,
because I tell everybody that's my girl. And so tell the viewers about how you actually encountered with her. And
funny, man, this is a funny story, bro. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Okay.
I had wrote that song for Pam, Anaya Weathers.
Yes.
And me and Anaya had did like 2 songs already.
Right.
And she was working on some other projects, and I had already reached out to Miss Lavelle as well, and I told her I wanted to work with her, in the future. And so Anaya was like, "Give her this track," and I'm like, "Are you sure?" She was like, "Yeah, let her do this one." I'm like, "All right." So I gave it to her, man, and she did her thing on it. She did the main vocals, and then she did the dub. And what was really weird was like we put the dub out first because I had to just go to the studio and just do her. You know what I mean? And Teo Week is also one of my brothers, one of my partners that helped me start my label.
Okay.
And, I let him listen to it as well, and he was like, "Man, that dub version is really hot," and I felt the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, "Cool, let's do it." And then Crystal was like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes, let's try to see." Because I mean, we still have the main vocal as well,
right?
And man, when we put it out, and everybody that has shown us love on this song, man, ridiculous. It was
well, I did it on my last Mixcloud mixtape, and I did a special remix on it. So whenever you get a chance, go into my Mixcloud and do it.
Send it to me.
Okay, all right. Well, listen. Anytime that Crystal actually does something, she sends it to me, and I do a little remix on it. I take it apart a little bit.
That's good. I appreciate
it. She's like, I love you for that. You always showing me love, and I'm like, well, you always show me love too. You know what I'm saying? But nice track. So let's talk about some other productions that you're working with, or something that's already in the making.
Actually, I'm doing one right now with the artist. She was actually on The Voice, man, and I had no idea that this young lady was on The Voice. She's actually a premier vocalist here in New Orleans.
Okay.
Her name is Casmay. That track will be out very soon. It's called "Oh Lord." I think you're really gonna like it.
Okay.
It's also a duet with Ed Ramsey as well.
Okay.
So that's going to be coming out soon. I just released this week a track with Miss Yaz Roar, who she was on the remake of Grace with Ed Ramsey. I just released a poetic version, so it's really featuring her. She did a great job poetically. Man, it was amazing working with her as well. Her gift is really good, man. It's amazing, the lyrics that she come up with, and just her voice and her delivery. Also, I have a song coming out with CKP overseas. It's another poetic house track, which is really nice. I guess it has real good vibes to it.
Right.
And that will be out actually the beginning of next month as well.
Okay.
So really excited about that. And working on some more projects. I'm working on a project with my original vocalist that was, excuse me, my
Okay,
their
that's all
phone
right.
is going off. I'm working on a project with one of my original vocalists, Shaquille Smith,
Okay.
who did Blessed and Grateful. He was one of the singers on Blessed and Grateful. We're working on a project right now as well. That will be due out probably the end of July. Um, so I have, have a few things in the oven. I try not to push out stuff too fast because,
Right. Right.
as well as
Right.
a lot of music don't have a long shelf life. But I
Yeah.
also don't want to
Exactly.
put a lot of artists out at the same time and have them have like 4 and 5 songs out at the same time, kind of compete with each other.
Right.
And I like to put out quality product. I think for the most
Exactly.
so I kind of don't rush and put stuff out. I definitely want it to be quality because I
Hmm.
appreciate people like yourself who appreciate the work that I'm doing. It's really
Right.
humbling.
Definitely.
Yeah,
You
it's
know.
definitely humbling, man. I appreciate everything, everybody, all the love everybody's given us.
So you say that your accommodation is from feedback is good energy for you to actually inspire you more to do better quality work, or?
Oh yes, definitely, definitely.
Hmm.
From a lot of DJs, especially when I go, on the track stores and see who's charted
Hmm.
some of my songs, and I've had some great DJs that have charted
Right.
some of my music. So that really, gives me even more energy
Hmm.
to just put out more songs, put out quality songs.
Right.
I love vocals, and I love like the jazzy, piece of it as well. I have one song out that's called Ninth Ward, and I named it Ninth Ward in recognition of New Orleans. It's a
Okay.
nice jazzy piece. One of the artists that I've used in that on that song is one of the top musicians here in New Orleans. He's a top pianist and a top organist.
Okay.
Um, so I definitely love, I love that type of music. I love that feel.
You have a very good vibe, man.
Thank you, man. Thank
Inside
you.
of
Really
it,
appreciate it.
you take the track and you go inside of it and you create a vibe that's like. Then when you lay it on top of it, it's like ice cream and cake,
Man, thank you.
And
Thank you.
I'm loving it.
Thank you.
I listen very well because I do tracks too, and I learn from guys like you guys, and it's a good thing to know that hey, we have people like you out there in the world, man. Where
Thank
we
you.
could
Thank
actually be inspired by. So, any current events that you want to talk about? As far as anything that any type of live events that you might be doing that you need the viewers to know about.
Man, I just came back from this event. You guys stay in contact with the Columbia House of Music Project.
Okay.
Young lady by the name of Kelly Kales,
Okay.
down in South Carolina. She's doing man an amazing job. Here in New Orleans as well. Actually, we're just starting our new event, which will start this Saturday tonight. Matter of fact, at this cigar and bourbon bar
Okay.
in the Bayou. Actually, it's in the Treme, so it's a really good area. It's also in the iconic Treme area in New Orleans. So you
Okay.
get a chance to actually come into the neighborhood,
Right.
feel New Orleans and feel what New Orleans feels like versus
I got to get out there.
just doing Bourbon Street. Yeah, you would love it, man. We have some great people, some great food, down here. Of course, great music. You already know that.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but that's coming up, and then we're going to. I'll be doing another event in South Carolina, Martin Luther King weekend. That's going to be amazing.
Okay.
It's an amazing venue, a black-owned venue.
Right.
She has a club. Also, she has like the outdoor area as well,
Okay.
which is solely theirs. They have houses, campers, and everything. You can
Wow,
camp
that's
out there
great.
overnight, man.
Sounds exciting, man.
Oh my God, it's
It
amazing.
sounds like a house Woodstock.
Yes, yes, yes,
So,
yes.
you have any shout outs for anyone, man, before we actually conclude this show?
Yeah, definitely, man. Like Pam Weathers, Anaya Weathers, of course, Crystal, for allowing me to work with her.
Right.
Um, and my man Teo Wink and Hakeem Sirbrand, actually, who helped me to
Oh,
start.
Hakim's my man now. I call him
Yeah,
up periodically, say
yeah,
hi to
he's a
him,
good dude. Yeah, he
Yeah.
helped me start my label, man. He taught me everything
Okay.
to think about as far as advertising is concerned and how to actually make yourself and your label more visible. He told me those two guys, man, helped me, create this label. Also, Rick Lenore, who does a lot of remixes for me, Sean Ali, Mike Dunn, my man Salah Alanis, who I'll be actually there. Matter of fact, I'll be there Labor Day weekend, which is September, when they have the House in the Park in Atlanta. I'll actually be playing out there as well.
Well, that's a good thing to know. And also, it's been a pleasure to have you on my show, man. And this has been another T-Lo video production with DJ Randall Smooth in the house, and I thank you very much. And you guys, for my viewers, stay tuned for another episode. Thank you.
T-Lo, thank you very much.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
We got some fun people in the house tonight.
This is our house. It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
My assignment, my calling is to inspire, uplift.
You have to make sure your people are partying.
All I want to do is just bring joy to the dance floor and watch people dance.
T-Lo.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.